To the IPFW Sports Center here, the Hilliard Gates Center on the campus of IPFW in Fort Wayne. Tonight, it's the University of California, Santa Cruz versus IPFW. IPFW comes in here with a national streak of 8 wins in a row. Let's go downstairs and get the public address announcer for the starting lineups.
IPFW Mastodons. Here are the starting lineups. For Santa Cruz, number 4, setter Joe Coronel. Number 5, outside hitter Marty Leshin. Number 13 is a middle blocker Chris Eisen. Number 21 is an outside hitter Michael Nash. Number 22, outside hitter Jess Bolger. And number 31 is a setter Jeff Esto. Santa Cruz is coached by Brian Pearson. Now the starting lineup for the IPFW Mastodons. Number 7, middle hitter Quentin Spiegel. Number 8, middle hitter Felipe Relax. Number 9, swing hitter Raul Papaleo. Number 10, setter Roy Ball. Number 11, middle hitter Peter Kujak. And number 15, swing hitter Norman Almaldovar. The Volleyball are coached by Ernie Ball.
There you have the starting lineups for both teams. IPFW just got done earlier with Quincy out of California. They beat them in 3-state, and joined by Dan Gephardt. I'm Paul Farbaugh, and Dan, you were able to see that game. Quincy beat Santa Cruz, so this one might be done quickly, very quickly.
No, actually, Santa Cruz beat Quincy.
Okay.
But it was not a very good match, not a very pretty match, nor was the IPFW Quincy match. Coach Ball did not play any of the starting 6 that he's played the last 2 nights against Lila Miramont and Santa Barbara, and we won fairly easily in 3, 9, 10, and 8. So I see that he's got his starting 6 back in the lineup tonight. I don't know how long we'll go there. I guess it depends on how well Santa Cruz plays. We don't know a whole bunch about Santa Cruz, Paul, except they're 15-7. They play in the Northern California League, made up mostly of club teams. But as I saw them warm up, it looked like they had some pretty good talent. So we'll really see what's going to happen here. So.
Okay. Now we want to take care of business first of all, and thank the College Cable Access Sports, or the people out there, the Cable Access Incorporated Fort Wayne, for making this sports presentation possible. And appreciate their efforts in getting IPFW sports telecast live presentations on the air. Raul Papaleo doesn't waste any time. Overpass kill for Papaleo. And Dan, just to touch on last night, first time they've beaten Santa Barbara in quite a while. Might have been the first time ever. Big win for the guys last night. Turned it around in that 3rd game. 5-setter. So this is the same crew out on the floor that did it last night.
Yeah, actually, it's not the first time they beat Santa Barbara. It's the first time they beat Santa Barbara in that tournament, that Spring Fling tournament. And actually, they turned it around in the 1st game, and then Arnie Ball made a mistake in the lineup, and it really threw the kids off mentally, and it took them about a game and a half to get back into it. But as you said, they really played well, in particularly the 3rd game and the 5th game. That rally score is really scary, and I thought we played really well in that 5th game.
Okay, Santa Cruz now has a side out. Back on serve, number 22, Jess Bollier. So we're passed by Papaleo, capitalized, still alive. Reset, blocked by Spiegel, one-on-one. And Santa Cruz does look smaller on your TV screen. They indeed are. Their tallest player goes 6'3". And he is not, scratch that. That's number 13 is 6'6". That is Chris Eisen for them. And Jess Bollier is 6'3". But they are a smaller team. Peter Kujak. Overpass kill missing.
Well, right now, both teams struggling getting into any continuity. They're not passing very well. On that overpass, Kujak was wide. That's the one you got to put down all the time. And as you said, neither team really hitting a stride right now.
Santa Cruz on serve. This is Papaleo, the pass. Hot bombing back row, misses long.
We had some of that problem earlier today against Quincy, where we weren't getting any topspin on the ball, and the ball was not staying in play, and the other team's not big enough to get their hands on the block.
Easy serve, Papaleo up the ball, back to Papaleo. Wanting a touch, did not get it, and Santa Cruz has tied it up at 2 apiece now. Tough also for the IPFW players, maybe a little bit of a mental letdown after preparing for Santa Barbara mentally, trying to beat them first time ever in spring fling. Come out here and see a team that's really played a lot of clubs teams that have not played the caliber of volleyball that IPFW's played. Tough for them possibly to get up early here.
I think that's a real true, Paul. I think mentally, volleyball is such a mental game, and as you mentioned, they really had 2 tough matches with Loyola Marymount and then Santa Barbara, and then come in this afternoon with not a very tough match. None of the starters played. It's just tough to get back up and get back into the game.
Get the legs back as well. That was a 5-setter last night. Bombing ball comes up with it. Maldavar has to get it over, does.
But it's wide of the antenna, Paul. Good dig in the back row by Loy Ball, though.
Ball has to go inside the antennas, cannot pass over the net outside. Side out, Santa Cruz back on serve, Chris Eisen, 2-3. Jump serve from Eisen. Good one to Maldavar, overpass. Ball saves it. Lift that time called on Spiegel. Tied up at 3 apiece right now. Very lackadaisical effort from IPFW. Eisen to serve. Takes the tape side out, IPFW.
Paul, when IPFW expects one of Santa Cruz's players to jump serve, they go into a 3-passing person rotation instead of 2, which they did a lot last night because Santa Barbara had 6 guys who would go up at any time.
Into the net that time. IPFW will be another side out for Santa Cruz, and that 3-passer system is who handles the serve.
It will always be it will always be Raul or Norman or both, and a third person. And just about everybody but Loy will pass the ball at some point in time if indeed Santa Cruz is going to do a lot of jump serve.
Loy will not pass the ball because he handles the second offensive pass. That is the set. Ball is long, called on a tip though. Santa Cruz now takes a 4-3 lead. Service error by Santa Cruz, number 31, Jeff Esto. He's the setter. Second service error for Santa Cruz. Peter Kuyak, sophomore out of Wisconsin, now on serve. Set by Esto, blocked by Maldavar. Block turned inside, ball, Merlot.
That was an interesting play on Santa Cruz's part. They've got that left-hander Michael Nash, and they ran a combination, and it came at IPFW from the wrong side. Usually you're expecting that combination to come at you from the left with a right-hand swing. This came from the right with a left-hander swing.
Maldavar turned back on the block. Number 21, Michael Nash. Number 10, Eric Gouger in there as well. Just going to comment on that rotation with Kuyak back on serve. It's a very good rotation for IPFW. Got some good back row hitters in there, and Spiegel and Relot as well up front. Time to pineapple by Ball. The defense not up. The middle blocker not there. Ball takes advantage.
Loy's got such an advantage being 6'9" to take that ball if it's a good pass on the first one and take it over the net.
To be honest, that will probably be open all night or reset now. Once the official blows, has 5 seconds to serve the ball. Here's a Maldavar. Tied at 4. Bad pass by Santa Cruz. Have to dump it over. 3 set out there. Papaleo converts. (5-4) Maldavar. Just tick the tape. That will be a side out. Another service error.
But I think that's the first for IPFW. And Paul, the last 2 nights they've had 64 total service errors, 64, 65 total service errors, and that was an aggressive error. And I don't think that Coach Ball is going to be too upset with that one.
Service game has been a problem all year long. A lift called into Maldavar that time. Got the ball too far up on the arms. Normally the player wants to pass with the forearms. Don't know if that was a lift or not. The ball gets up that high on the body. Officials more likely to call the play. 5-5 now. Papaleo with a pass. Back set that time. Quick hitter or lot. Well, to be perfectly honest, Dan, IPFW has much more in the way of talent here, but Santa Cruz not taking anything for granted, keeping the ball in play. That time a bad pass. Got to get it over now.
Well, Paul, I think one of the things to remember about these West Coast teams is they grow up playing beach volleyball. And the wind and we play with a heavier ball, you really perfect the techniques of passing. And so you're going to see a lot of digging and a lot of good passing on the California kids' parts. I'll take a look at the roster here.
Kill attempt good that time, blocked in.
See, Santa Cruz has got 11 of their 12 players from the California area, so you know they've played a lot of volleyball.
Ball service error that time. Santa Cruz now serving at 5-7. Number 22, Jess Bollier, back on serve. He's an outside hitter. Just to elaborate on that point a little bit, I know we've touched on it before, but they also play beach volleyball out there. And that's 2 or 3 man volleyball, and that stresses defense. You can't get the ball back without playing defense on there. Each player has to be able to play defense, so that's why when we say California teams normally play good defense, because they grow up playing it. Relat now on serve at 7-5. Into the net. Saw him warming up, having a little problem with the jump serve. Doesn't normally go to it. This is a good opportunity for IPFW to work on some new offenses, some new plays, some new serves. Also try some different rotations of players. This is ball now. Quick hitter that time. Spiegel up with it. Santa Barbara digs with it. That time good penetration. Chris Eisen turns back and roofs. Quentin Spiegel.
That's a great defensive play by Eisen. Kuyak with the overpass kill, and Eisen stayed right with him the whole way.
Nice pass from Amaldabar. Kuyak.
Good choice on Loy's part, though. Go right back to Kuyak in the middle against Eisen, and I don't think Eisen was expecting that one.
The middle appears to be open for IPFW. Papaleo on serve. Tough serve that time. Still alive, 2 to get it over now. Kuyak almost whiffs that time. Don't know if that off-speed kill was called for, but then again you have Amaldavar setting instead of Ball setting Kuyak that time.
And timing is a key.
Especially over the middle. Papaleo on serve now. Bad pass dinked over that time. Number 21, Michael Nash with a kill. And IPFW players not hitting the floor right now. Substitution for Santa Cruz into the game. Eric Gouger is coming in for Jorg Coronel. He's mainly a back row specialist. Spiegel on serve at 8-6. Time overpass, stuffed. Nash bombing left-hander. Ball to reset, back set, Spiegel. Can't get it over inside the antenna. And IPFW is definitely struggling.
And again, Paul, I think part of that is the fact that they had 2 tough matches the nights before, and they watched their teammates play, and it's just very difficult to continually get yourself up.
Amaldavar turned around that time. Gouger and number 22, Jess Bollier.
Santa Cruz doing a very nice job at the net blocking in particular right now.
Service error there.
But they're having a number of service errors, which is hurting their game. They trail here only by 1, but they had a chance to be in the lead here if they would be making those service errors.
Kuyak back on serve. He has been a starter for most of the year for IPFW. That time the kill attempt good to lefty. Nash coming in against a 2-man block. Good serve, handled nicely by Papaleo. Back set, Spiegel off the fingertips. 2 to get it over now. Tried to turn it back inside, Relat did, but the kill is good. Marty Leschen converts, and we're knotted up at 8. Santa Cruz is definitely not going to give this one away just because of IPFW's name. Dons come in here, ranked 12th. Amaldavar with a kill. Beat number 9, Santa Barbara last night. Beat a good team in Loyola Marymount Friday night. The rest of the season, this is the last home game, and Dan, it shapes up. They've got to beat Ball State and Ohio State on the road. got a good tournament coming up in Ball State as well.
That's, as you said, their conclusion of their regular season schedule is going to be a real tough one, Paul. They obviously lost to Ohio State at home, so they have to go over to Ohio State to win if they want to take that top seed into the MIVA. They also have to go on the road and beat Ball State at Ball State. Next weekend they'll play Brigham Young, which is currently rated number 7 in the nation, and George Mason down at the Ball State tournament. So they're going to be on the road about 4 weekends in a row, which is a real difficult thing. You know, you're worrying about finals coming up here not too far down the road. You're trying to keep up with your academics, and you got to travel and play some important matches here coming up.
This team has been tough to figure out, Dan. Maybe you can comment on this, having seen a lot of the home games. They play very well at times, and other times seem disinterested. And part of the problem has been also in the first game. They'll have problems, and they'll get themselves in a hole. They've been able to dig themselves out most times. But a few times, especially that Ohio State game, Ohio State just controlled the tempo, and IPFW was really never in the match.
Well, and as you mentioned, oftentimes you let somebody play real well the first game, and they keep their momentum and level up. You know, and it's tough to dig yourself out of that hole. And I think that happened against the Ohio State. I know this team didn't play very well, in my opinion, before they took that trip to California, and they played real well out there. We heard that they did some team-building things and really made some things to make themselves a better team, and I think it's showing in last night's match, for example. But even in last night's match, there was a lot of up-and-down play. They were able to overcome, but it was still a tough match.
11-8 now. Turn back inside. Reliant in ball. Reliant with the credit on the kill, or block kill that time. 12-8 now. Maldavar on serve. And another service error. 65 service errors. I believe I read somewhere that 32 or 33, that's a school record.
Yeah, it was a school record on Friday with 32, and 33 on Saturday was another school record. So.
Definitely not the type of mistakes you can be making, even a team free side out like that. IPFW will have to curb that if they want to do well down in the MIVA tournament. This is ball back set Spiegel. Tough set that time. Set was just a little low for Spiegel to get to.
Actually, I'm a little bit surprised to see Quentin in here. I don't know if it's because the last home match as a senior, but I know he hurt his shoulder, and I'm a little bit surprised to see him in this match at this early anyway.
This is ball over the middle, Papaleo. Senior comes through with another kill. Has been coming on lately. It flipped an ankle earlier on. Had some trouble with it, stuck with it out on the court. And now is coming back, rounding into All-American form. Santa Cruz has to get it over, blocked by Spiegel, one-on-one on the net. Loy ball on serve now, 13-9. See, Loy is trying a variety of serves. Kill attempt is wide. Number 22, Jess Boyer, just got a little bit too far underneath the set that time. Couldn't control his arm swing. This is for game one right here, 14-9 IPFW. Ball to serve it out. Jump serve is good. Handled nicely by Bollier. Ball the quick set. Dink that time. Great up. Santa Cruz has to get it over. And it is long. That's game one, 15-9 IPFW over Santa Cruz. We're going to take a timeout right now. Be back right after these messages.
When lightning may strike? And how do you count the fish in the sea? How can you tell if a child is growing normally, if baseball is getting better, or traffic is getting worse? How do you know about stock market trends, the risk of cholesterol, the history of witchcraft, or the future of spacecraft? With statistics, that's how. And how can you find out about statistics? With the new Statistics series, Against All Odds.
Where do you turn to find help for an elderly person you love? Call the Elder Care Locator at 1-800-677-1116.
Join your local chapter.
For over 2 millennia, Western society has generated a rich visual tradition of painting, sculpture, and architecture. What do these images mean? How can we understand them? Art of the Western world will take you on an exciting journey that will suggest answers to these and other questions. Beginning in ancient Greece and ending on the brink of the future, it will examine many of mankind's most enduring artistic achievements.
Carol,
Tom.
some people still don't realize how space technology benefits everyone.
Well, you've played a detective. Why don't you give him a clue and I'll be your helper?
Okay, partner, look at this.
Without warning, hurricanes can take a huge toll in lives and property.
But with space satellites, we now have ample warnings.
And thousands of lives have been saved.
Hey, Carol, we're a great team.
We're a great item.
Space technology.
This is what's in it for you.
Back once again at the Harrogate Sports Center. Game 1 in the books, 15-9. IPFW winner against University of California, Santa Cruz. It's really number 1 versus number 7 in the matchup of nicknames, at least according to Sports Illustrated. The Mastodons number 7, of course. And University of Santa Cruz, they're nicknamed the Banana Slugs.
I'm not sure what a banana slug is, Paul.
I don't know.
I have this vision in my mind that isn't too appealing. So.
Well, I was expecting something a little bit different in the way of school colors, but we just have blue on blue out there for Santa Cruz. So we'll leave it at that. 15-9, same starting crew out on the floor for IPFW here in the second game.
Well, you mentioned it a couple times during that we weren't playing very well, and I think that was important to work through that. I really don't think we played a very good first game, but still won at 15-9 against a pretty good Santa Cruz club. We didn't know what to expect from them, but they actually played pretty well.
They made a few service errors, but they really don't make many errors. If they do, it's just because you can see the talent level isn't as high, don't have as much height. That time, nice block by number 5, Marty Leschen. Spiegel. Santa Cruz jumps out 1-0 here early on. Game 1, it was 8-8 at one point. Then IPFW runs off 7-1 run and a service error. Pepe Relat on serve. It's a sophomore, 6'6", out of Puerto Rico. Tough jump serve that time, handled nicely by Nash. Nash coming back with it, keeps with it. Papaleo on the overpass. That's what you like to see.
That's great reaction by Raul. He's up on the block. The ball comes right back, and he hits the overpass.
Great bounce that time to get up and down and up again. Relat with the second good jump serve. That time through the blockers, ball comes up with a 3-man block. Couldn't stop it. Up at the net, Spiegel into the net. Had an opening, but was into the net. That set was really tight.
That's some good hustle by IPFW, though. They're keeping the ball alive. It hasn't worked out either time, but they're really working hard to keep the ball in play.
Second consecutive service error for Santa Cruz. On the first side of that, Santa Cruz able to punch it through a 3-man block. Not a good sign for IPFW. A couple of different guys playing the middle now for IPFW this year. Spiegel played some middle last year, and Kuyak is in the middle. Last year they had Tom Junkie and Neil Day in the middle, and those guys were tremendous blockers, way up on the career block list at IPFW. So struggle at times IPFW has with the block. And to beat those California teams, you do need to play defense. Boy, it did catch a line. Amaldavar let it go.
Well, I think the strain of the last 2 nights is really showing here. We've seen a couple times where IPFW is not going on the floor after balls that they typically would go after every single time.
That time off-speed kill, getting the timing together. Pretty Kuyak from Volleyball. Side out, IPFW. Spiegel on serve at 1-2. Handled nicely, sat down now. Blocked that time, Eisen turned back. Kuyak with a block. Bolivar gets underneath it. Still alive. Kuyak tips it over. Esto now to Nash. Blocked. Blocked again. Kuyak that time off his head. Gave a little sigh of relief that time. Punched it through Kuyak's arms. His arms were too wide apart, and that is one thing that Peter Kuyak has to work on a little bit at the net.
Well, Arnie tells me that blocking is one of the most technical skills you have to have in volleyball. And they really do need to work on the skill at every practice and every game.
4-2 now. Spiegel on serve. Nash that time. The pass. Coming through. That's Marty Leshin with a good swing from the back row. Side out Santa Cruz. Serving at 2-4 is Chris Eisen. Just took the tape that time. It'll be another side out. IPFW ball.
Paul, we've said this a number of times, that service is crucial. That's the only way you can score. You got to get the ball in play.
And really, I don't know if Coach Ball would agree with this or not, but 32 service errors and to still win each game, 33 in the other game maybe last night, to still come up with a win, I would have to think that that's a pretty good sign your offense is working. Because when you're getting the chances, you're capitalizing on it.
That and your side out defense is really working, to keep the other team from scoring.
Kuyak back on serve. Watch his rotation. It was very successful the last two nights. That time, Eisen trying to go off the fingertips. Not successful. IPFW pulls back in time. Santa Cruz is going to take a timeout. Brian Pearson's going to talk to his team, try and get them back together. They're trailing now 6-2. The College Cable Access Program Guide provides information about our programming, including IPFW sports telecast. To receive your free Channel 6 program guide, send your name, address, and zip code to. They're on your TV screen, Channel 6 at IPFW, 2101 Coliseum Boulevard East, Fort Wayne, Indiana, 46805.
Okay.
Okay, catching a little bit of the conversation there between the up referee. Wants to keep the players off the net a little bit. Peter Kuyak on serve at 6-2, and you have to feel if IPFW rolls in this game, might see the reserves back in with a service error. And that is never good after a timeout, Dan.
No, it's exactly what you want to avoid. That's the reason that the other team takes a timeout, is to get the ball back, hopefully, just like a free throw in basketball, to ice the server.
Papaleo with the overpass. Dinked over, still alive. Spiegel sets the ball, back set. Kuyak bomb throw. Marty Leshin tried to pull back in time, couldn't do it. Side out IPFW.
That was a great choice by Loy. They had double blockers in the middle, and he went outside for a back row attack.
Bolivar, IPFW working on the jump serve. The overpass tipped over by Relat. Seen it now from Relat. Bolivar has shown it. Of course, Lloyd Wall has a jump serve as well. IPFW also serving to different areas on the floor. Time handled nicely. Nash coming in, stuffs it down. Relat and Papaleo got a little mixed up there. Jump serve from Nash. Decent. Ball now with a set. Kuyak from back row.
Lloyd Ball back to third.
Esto now with a set. Kill attempt is wide.
Now they call that good, Paul.
Well, I missed it. That's far sideline. I guess that is going to be good. We're going to have a substitution here for Santa Cruz coming back in. Joy Cornell, his back row specialist, coming in to serve. Santa Cruz has a small team by way of height, and a small team in way of numbers too. 10 people dressed. Really only 7 players playing. Cornell can't come up with it. Side out IPFW. And it's a nice show by Coach Arnie Ball. He remembers when IPFW was in this position once before too. When you try to build up your program by playing upper echelon programs instead of just club teams all the time, it lets the players know what they're capable of and what levels volleyball can be played at.
We talked about that earlier today. That's so important if we want to develop men's volleyball in the United States, is to allow these teams to have an opportunity to play, like you said, the upper echelon club.
Kuyak over the middle. The middle did not get up in time. Eisen slow on the block. Papaleo on serve at 7-2. And believe it or not, there was a time when IPFW was not a volleyball power.
Not that long ago, Paul. Not that long ago.
Coach Ball was in charge of both programs. I believe he did well with the women first, and then the men came on, and he's since turned the volleyball women's volleyball program over. New volleyball coach in the works as well now for IPFW on the women's side. Been successful over the years. It's a Spiegel combination play. Mistimed a little bit. Ball comes up with set there. Now got to get it over. Winton does. Tipped that time. Found a spot on the floor. Eisen.
I think IPFW's legs are a little bit heavy, Paul, after the last couple nights. The effort's there. They're just not quite being able to move quick enough.
You do see Santa Cruz being able to get to the balls on the floor. Not many hitting before that time, though. Almodovar comes through with a hit. IPFW that time had to run around 3 times to pop that ball up. Boy, Ball holding his shoulder right now, his right shoulder. Might have jammed it diving for the ball. Check on that. This is Nash. Ball tried to turn him inside, but Nash. Power kill attempt off ball. Side out Santa Cruz now, making a little run at 4-7. Substitution back in. Eric Goucher coming in. George Cornell. In position, couldn't come up with it. Number 22, Jess Bollier. Side out IPFW. Kuyak back on serve. And a service error from Kuyak. You can see he was trying to serve to a different service area than he is normally accustomed to. IPFW using this as a learning experience, working on different parts of their game. Serving as well. There's a combination play. Almodovar with a kill attempt. Rise by Almodovar that time.
That combination is such a great play to watch because the blockers typically go up with the first hitter, and then that ball, they're coming down when the second hitter comes through for the kill.
Nash catches a back line. Side out Santa Cruz. Just to elaborate on that point a little more, it seems that combination X play where a player will run around the player and the player actually killing the ball will run around the player who fakes the first kill works very well for IPFW, and you wonder if sometimes they're a little leery of showing it, want to save it rather for when they really need it, that offense, when they really need it. Got plenty of players who can hit that play.
I saw last night in the Santa Barbara match they'd actually moved it to the outside. They typically run that in the middle, that combination, but they actually ran that combination on the outside last night. I really don't know if what you're saying is true or not. I imagine it's a very difficult play as far as timing goes, and so you may not run it as much as you'd like to for that reason. I think also, Paul, the important thing to run any offense is how well your passing is. Unless we're really passing well, it's difficult to run about any kind of offense.
Norman Almodovar does most of the passing on the serves. Papaleo is a good passer as well, but most teams try and stay away from him. Blocked out of bounds that time. 3-man block up, but the kill attempt good by Leshin. And easy for IPFW too to switch up and let Almodovar and Papaleo. Either one is capable of passing. It's easy to put them in different spots in the rotation, so you will have either one of those players handling the first pass. Back in the game now, George Cornell comes back anytime Goucher is in the back row. Papaleo that time, see it again, run it to the outside. That's the combination play, have to get it over. One more hit now for Santa Cruz. They do get it over. Papaleo with a slide and dive gets it. Kuyak just a little high that time. Couldn't snap the wrist down on it.
That was a tough set. Wasn't quite high enough for Peter to get his timing down.
Serve is wide. IPFW now. Rolado on serve at 9-5. Call coming in there from the bench, which side to serve to, and the type of serve as well. Estow with a pretty set. And the kill is good by Ison. Santa Cruz sticking around.
Yeah, they're really hurting themselves offensively. Defensively, they're playing pretty well, I think.
I think they just probably wanted to stay with IPFW. Papaleo rising high with that kill. Good bounce. It's good to see him healthy again. Really swinging well these last few games. And a jump serve from Papaleo. Ison catches the corner. No, they call it wide. Net jump serve is long. Santa Cruz now at 5-10, back on serve. Marty Leshin. A lot that time. Almost a facial. Takes the tape. That's going to be another side out for Santa Cruz. Dan, when do the Volleyball have that tournament down at Ball State?
Next Friday and Saturday. I'm not sure in what order they play. They'll play on one of the nights. They'll play Brigham Young, who's currently rated 7th in the country, and one night they'll play George Mason. Again, I'm not sure which nights, Paul.
Would people be able to call your office then at IPFW then, the number, and find out if they wanted to go down there?
Right.
Ball State, that arena, they're playing the new arena down there.
Right, and that's a Ticketmaster arena, so tickets should be available through the Ticketmaster outlets. I talked to the assistant coach last night from Ball State to check that, and he wasn't sure, but he thought that was probably true.
George Mason have to check here and see where they're ranked.
They're not ranked, but they beat us in the Hall of Fame Classic. So again, we weren't playing as well as we could, but I expected it would be a pretty good match.
They're one of the perennials out east with Rutgers Newark and Penn State. We're going to have a timeout right now. IPFW leading game 2, 11-5. Santa Cruz going to take their final timeout here of the game. Well, you too can't join in the excitement, and it is exciting. It is the last two nights showed of IPFW athletics. Had big crowds out here last two nights. Not a big crowd out here tonight, perhaps burned out a little bit. But if you want to get in on the Royal Dons Club, you can. It's the official booster club for all IPFW athletic teams. Members enjoy priority seating at IPFW sporting events, food and refreshments in the hospitality room, admission to IPFW sports media luncheons, and association with other Mastodon supporters, just to name a few benefits. For more information on becoming a member of the Royal Dons Club, call Lisa Moreland. Number there on your screen, 481-6027.
It's a great organization, does a nice job supporting all of the athletic programs here at IPFW, and also by becoming a member at a certain level, you get a free admission to all of the indoor events. So it's a real worthwhile organization, and it's beneficial to become a member.
Kuyak on serve at 11-5. Estow out wide. Nash does catch the corner that time. The only place you could possibly put it does. Side out Santa Cruz. But then you were telling me during the break, IPFW's women's softball team is now taking off. I know a few years ago they weren't as successful as they are right now. The baseball team has been doing well, better than they normally have done. Also doing well under new coach Matt Kinzer.
All of our sports are doing very well, Paul, and our spring sports in particular. Our tennis team went down to Texas, played 3 Division I programs, lost all 3, so came back 0-3. But since then, have gone 4-0, so they're 4-3 overall. And as you mentioned, baseball went down to Florida, came back 7-3.
That actually might be a new team record in wins.
That was more wins than they had all of last year just on their Florida trip. And as you mentioned, I coached that softball team a number of years ago when we shorthanded personnel-wise, and we were like 0-23. The next year, I think they won one, and this year they started out 9-1 going into this weekend's GLBC cluster. We've not heard any results about how they did this weekend, but they're playing very, very well.
Well, there is a lot of softball talent around the area here. How does that Royal Dons Cup play into the allotment of scholarships, if it does at all, or how can people get involved if they want to support IPFW athletics and other endeavors?
The Royal Dons Club is probably the best organization, because actually your gift there is used at the discretion of a board of volunteers, and they decide how the money is allocated to the organization, either operationally or through scholarships. You know, the department determines the recommendations of scholarship allotments, but the funding obviously has to come from all outside sources, so that's a great way for people to get involved.
Okay, Santa Cruz on serve at 5'11". We talk about the winter sports here. In addition to the spring sports, killed by Papaleo that time. The men's basketball team had a fine year this year. First ever Division II tournament berth. Good team. They lost a lot of players, but I expect some players from the junior college ranks to step in next year, as well as some key players from this year.
Well, they were disappointed with their showing at the NCAA Division II tournament at Evansville. There you see a kill by Rolat. But actually, Paul, the team that beat them went on to win the regional and then went on to beat the number 2 team in the country before being beat by only 6 points by the number 1 team in the country, who went on to win the national tournament. So.
And that was Cal State Bakersfield, number 1 in the poll all year long in Division II. And scores were competitive down there in Southern Indiana. So this athletic program out here is on the rise. Of course, one of the keystones has been the players out on the floor right now. 12th ranked Volleyball Rolat with a kill. They'll be searching for a Final Four berth in the MIVA conference or the tournament down there later on this year. Is going to be very crucial to whether or not they get a bid to the Final Four. Touch on that after this point. Tipped that time, the pineapple play. Blockers did not have their arm up as in front. For 31 that time. Center, Jeff Estow with the kill. Papaleo now taking the passing chores. Blocked that time by Nash. Papaleo could not come up with it. 6-12 Santa Cruz, the Banana Slugs. Ball has to run a long way to get that one. Time a tough set for Almaldivar. Nash that time. Good broad jump kill. Still alive. Have to get it over. Almaldivar does. Great kill attempt that time in the overpass. Still alive. Have to get it over this time. Boy, IPFW might have been into the net, not called.
That was a great play by both teams, though, Paul. They kept the ball alive, played some great defense. Not real good offensive set, but both teams dug the ball well and kept it alive.
Closing the gap a little bit. Was 11-5 at one point, now 12-7. Almaldivar comes back, going baseline or sideline. Spiegel on serve now at 12-7. And once again, we see IPFW players trying different serves to different areas. Errors slipped out there, but it was a service error.
But again, it's much more aggressive philosophy about serving tonight, and the mistakes they're making, I'm sure, even though coach doesn't want to see those, I'm sure it's much more acceptable than the last few nights service errors.
Eisen back on serve once again. The jump serve, 8-12. Trailing is long with it. Gonna have a substitution now. First one of the night for IPFW. Steve Simonson in now. Peter Kuyak is going to go back in the back row and serve. Pick it up defensively a little bit as well. Peter Kuyak being talked to on the sideline by Coach Ball. And a service error by Simonson.
But again, he was trying to serve in between zone number 1 and number 2 down the sideline, and that's a tough serve, and it wasn't wide by very much.
Anytime you can take the passer out of the offense and give the opposing team one less option. That's a good play. The setter cannot kill the ball, obviously. Almaldivar going cross court. Nice twisting kill attempt that time. Turned his body and went outside his body line that time with his arm swing. Very difficult play. And a lot of torque on that shoulder.
Plus, it's very difficult to get any power on it and hit that ball pretty hard.
He is one of the big bombers for IPFW. Probably hits it as hard as anybody. Spiegel that time. Off the net, still alive, one to get it over. Leschen gets it in. Time Simonson protecting up a little close against the dink. Michael Nash with the jump serve, a little bit unorthodox. He's left-handed. Oh, nice set by Ball into the net, brought it back.
But Santa Cruz, one of Santa Cruz players, came across and played the ball in the IPFW zone, so it's in essence an interference call.
Side out IPFW, Lloyd Ball on serve, 12-8.
IPFW really working on that short serve, trying to bring the passers up, and as you mentioned, takes them right out of the offense when they have to come all the way forward and make that pass.
Dink attempt that time by Ralat, nicely disguised, does the job. Kuyak coming back in, Simonson coming out. He's primarily a back row player. Is a setter for this team. Did set, I believe, against Troy State a little bit.
And did set all day today against Quincy. So
off-speed kill is good. Eisen. Santa Cruz still hanging around here. IPFW making a little bit of work for themselves here in this second game.
IPFW not doing a very good job blocking the middle right now. Paul Eisen's pretty much been able to, as you said, he didn't hardly get any oomph on that ball and was still able to get a fairly easy kill.
Time going to Spiegel outside. Over the overhanging beams out here supporting the roof at the Hingergate Sports Center, but it did fly out of bounds. Once a ball does hit, I don't know the specifics. I think there has to be a clear space of 26 feet above the court. Once it hits an overhang, that is a side out for the opposing team. And boy, IPFW not getting the block up at all that time. Ralat pounded into the floor that time. Kill attempt good. Santa Cruz on serve.
And when you don't get a hand on a block, it puts an awful lot of pressure on the back row to dig.
Tough pass for Ball to handle that time. Kuyak a little bit too far away from the net. Boy, Ball has the most beautiful one-handed set on those overpasses, and he's able to turn a lot of passing errors into kill attempts. That time not successful. Ball now with a set outside of Almaldivar. Two-man blocked. Into the net that time, Santa Cruz. I believe it was Eisen, side out IPFW. Tough pass that time, Esto handles it. Nash that time, the blocker floating away. Nash goes down the line. I think they forgot he was left-handed.
Exactly right. There were two blockers there, and they both floated inside, and he went right down the line on the outside.
Eisen back on serve, jump serve. It's a good one. Ball has to run underneath. Ralat bombing back row. Nice set by Ball. Ralat with a good kill attempt.
Nice choice by Lloyd because the setter for Santa Cruz, Jeff Esto, is only 6 foot tall. And Pepa coming out of the back row there could easily hit over him.
Lloyd has to make those decisions very quickly. That time Nash coming up against the block. Ralat and Almaldivar. The setter does control the offense, has to make those decisions where he's going to set, who he's going to set to. Watch it right here. Saw Ralat up there. Called that play. Knew the middle was going to work. Almaldivar on serve. IPFW stuck on 11 and 12 for ages. That time they get a service ace.
Probably would have been, yeah, that probably would have been long had the Santa Cruz player not gotten his arm up.
13-9 now. Leschen handles it this time. That time, two-man block up. Boyer tried to hit it off the fingertips. IPFW pulled it down in time, and we're up for another game point here. Substitution coming in, Quentin Spiegel. That might be his last action of tonight's game. Craig Collins, the sophomore out of Detroit, coming in.
Coach Ball's used this combination real effectively the last couple matches, getting them in and out when apparently one is not doing the job.
Nash still alive. Almaldivar, 2 to get it over. Kuyak now. Mix up there between Kuyak and Papaleo. That was Kuyak's ball. Kuyak's going to come out now. Simonson coming in. And he's going to grab a seat on the bench right next to Coach Ball. This is really Kuyak's first year playing here. He's a sophomore.
Played at a little school in St. Louis last year.
And that time the long dig attempt by Ball. What do you know about him then, Dan?
I know that he's got a pretty good high school background, and Coach Ball saw a lot of potential in him, but I know he's got a lot of learning to play, particularly at this level, and some coaches expecting some big things out of Peter in the next couple of years, and we've already seen considerable growth just this year.
First, he was very inconsistent playing the middle. That time, Papaleo stretched that. Blocked. Boyer. Gouger. He's come on of late.
Well, actually, last night in the Santa Barbara match, I saw some of the quickest middle attacks with Peter than I've seen us ever have at IPFW.
That time, the ball set a little too far inside. Verlat could not get to it. One problem with Peter and Neil Day, the fine color announcer we have do IPFW games for us, mentioned that his arm swing is a little slow. He's had to work on that. Up the middle, arm swing speed is of a big premium because you have to get up quickly and hit the ball quickly as well. So Peter has been working on that as well. This is another game point here. Close out game 2 for Lott. Good serve that time, almost an overpass. Nice one-handed set there from Estow. Ison with a kill.
Yeah, he did a nice job of saving that one because you mentioned that pass was going to be overpass for sure.
Almaldivar this time with a pass, quick hitter. Collins, that's 6'6" on 6 feet. If Estow's stats are right, he might even be a little shorter. Collins comes up with a win that time. Side out IPFW Papaleo for game 2.
Well, Craig was forced into the middle that time because Coach Ball has left Simonson playing in the front row. So it forced Craig to go into the middle, an unusual position for him, and it didn't look like the timing was real good, but it was effective.
Time Ball stepped in the way. Papaleo had that up coming. Knocked out of bounds. That ball might have been going long. Almaldivar has to get down on the floor. Stow now, quick hitter off the fingertips of Almaldivar. Point Santa Cruz. Sticking around. It's 11-14 now. Down at one time, 12-5. Ball now going wide. Almaldivar over 2 blockers. And that's there all day long. He's going up against the center, who is only 6'0". Almaldivar, very powerful. He will punch it through there. Collins one more time for game 2. Tough pass. Got to get it over. Ison does, out of bounds. That's game 2, 15-11. They go with 15-9 in the first. IPFW up 2-0 against the University of California at Santa Cruz. We'll be back with game 3 right after these messages.
Jobs. It's top priority with many Hoosiers today. Good jobs with good futures. That's what Ivy Tech in Fort Wayne specializes in, training good people for good jobs. The skilled jobs Indiana's future needs.
Ivy Tech, what Indiana needs to grow. Call for enrollment information.
Mental illness. We fear it. We laugh at it. We scorn it. We think it's shameful. But these are misunderstandings. Misunderstandings that will fade away if we see mental illness for what it really is. A medical disease. A disease that can be treated if you just know where to turn. For an informative booklet, call the American Mental Health Fund.
Excuse me, ma'am, can you help us? I'm sorry, Sir, please help our brother. Ma'am, we need some blood for our brother. Please.
I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Sir? Please, ma'am.
Oh, not now, baby.
Our brother really needs blood. Can you help us?
Imagine if you had to ask for blood to save the life of someone you love. Next time the American Red Cross asks, give blood, please.
A lot of my friends have already retired. But I wasn't ready for that. So I'm still teaching. This time in Belize, Central America. I decided to join the Peace Corps. I love my kids. And the way I figure it, I have the rest of my life to play cards.
Peace Corps, the toughest job you'll ever love.
My hero, Isaiah Thomas, Kevin Costner, Mr. Wong.
These are teachers, but to the kids they've reached, they're heroes.
My hero, Mrs. Wooten. If I don't get through to that child, who knows, maybe no one else will.
Teachers have the power to wake up young minds, to be heroes, to make a difference. Reach for that power. Teach. Find out how by calling 1-800-45-TEACH. Be a teacher. Be a hero.
Earth Day, Sunday, April 25th. Earth Day, Sunday, April 25th at IPFW. For more information, call 420-CARE.
Game 3 coming up on Paul Farba, joined by Assistant Athletic Director Dan Gebhardt here. This is the final home telecast of the IPFW Volleyball. Tonight they're playing University of California at Santa Cruz. Mentioned earlier, it's number 1 versus number 7 in the nickname matchup. It really hasn't been too much of a volleyball game, to be perfectly honest with you. IPFW has the same starters out there on the floor that they had last time. Right now they only have 5 players on the floor. I guess Quentin's going to decide to take the warm-ups off and go in. A little confusion right now.
I think just about everybody associated with the IPFW program is ready for this weekend to end.
It has been a long one and a good one.
We've had a number of volleyball matches. We had a coaches clinic here with ex-national team coach Bill Neville here as the clinician. And as I said, it's just been a very long weekend. I think that we're all ready for this volleyball weekend, and even though we all love volleyball.
Meet number 9, Cal State Santa Barbara last night in a 5-setter. Legs haven't quite been there today for the regulars. In a match earlier, IPFW beat Quincy in 3 straight. Second team really played. A lot of reserves got extended playing time in that one. Craig Collins in now for Peter Kuyak. He's the only difference. The other 5 have been out on the floor all game long. Ison from Aldebar. The dig, still alive. 1 to get it over now for Santa Cruz. Reset, pineapple that time. Loy ball, middle was open. Anytime that middle blocker doesn't go up, Loy is a threat to score right away. Spoiler off the hands. 2 more hits now. Collins back row. Nice dig that time by the setter. Still alive. 2 more hits for IPFW.
Nice play by Raul.
Raul, one of 3 seniors on this IPFW team. What a big contributor he has been. He's done it all. He's been a passer. He's been a great swing hitter for IPFW this year. believe he was the setter one year, was he not, Dan?
First year here, freshman year. Right before Volleyball came in, in fact, he still holds the record for assist in a match. I think it's 112.
That must have been a long match before rally scoring.
It was a long match before rally scoring.
That time the praying mantis doesn't work by Spiegel. Hands right up in front of the face. He knows he didn't need to go down for it. Papaleo just had a block there just to reinforce the point. Earlier, it is 0-4 on serve, Jess Boyer. Back set, Spiegel. Kill is long. Point Santa Cruz. I'm sure this is a good learning experience for Santa Cruz. Not as big a crowd has been out here the last 2 nights. That's understating it. Had about 1,000 both nights.
Just great court savvy by Raul there.
Going to have a substitution now. First time we see number 15 in the game. Or 16 rather. And boy, I love announcing this name, Brent.
Banikowski.
Sounds good. He's Brent in our book for number 16.
We'll assume his parents aren't watching this on television tonight. So.
Papaleo with a kill, still alive. Have to get it over. Great get up that time by Eisen. Papaleo that time with a facial off Leshen. Still alive, but outside the antenna.
That was a great play by Eisen, though, to get that ball over on that third hit. He was virtually under the net, Paul, and was able to get enough overspin on the ball to roll it over the top.
Typifies the effort of California teams. Ball rarely hitting the floor. Service error by Volleyball. That ball is just a changeup that took off.
Well, Paul, this is an uneducated observation from my part, but my guess is that we in the Midwest really take pride in our offensive skills, whereas I think the West Coast team really take pride in their defensive skill. It's almost a slap to their pride to let the ball touch the floor.
Yeah, there could be a number of factors. I'm sure there are probably a couple theses, whatever, written on it, treatises. I'm sure there are a lot of theories on it. But volleyball is really relatively new to the East Coast and the Midwest. And I don't know, maybe as in basketball, something, the glamour of the kill precedes. Oh, that time a whiff by Spiegel. Didn't know where the ball was at.
Well, I think he was expecting a combination. Again, I'm not familiar with all of it. If you watch Loy prior to the serve, he calls about 5 different things. And I think that Quentin got confused and thought there was going to be a combination being run.
That time they do run the combination. Same play, they run it to the outside. And that time I believe if that's right, then Spiegel was the fake X on the first combination too. Didn't see anybody behind him and realized he would have had to have hit it. That time Collins up, have to get it over. Collins does, might have been out of bounds. Now one to get it over, Eisen does. Oh, pretty back set by Almodovar for ball. Oh, we have a lift here. Boy, and the players are talking about that. That's just like giving up a pretty assist in basketball.
And I disagree with that call. If he would have had that with his hands, I would have said, yeah, that was a good call, but it hit him in the forearm, and I believe it's pretty difficult to have a lift on your forearm. Pat Karras is up tonight, was up last night, and we haven't had Pat up very much this year, and I thought the players were a little bit confused by some of his calls.
Kill attempt dug up nicely by Relat. Cross court, did he catch a line? Is wide by Almodovar. Now Santa Cruz once again hanging around, down early, 5-1, now it's 3-5. Esto on serve. Bad pass that time by Papaleo. Collins knocks it over, free ball. Papaleo goes and gets it. Relat now with the set. Collins has to go chase it down. Another chance for Santa Cruz. Nash bombing left-hander. Boy, he's been all right for Santa Cruz.
Well, I don't think IPFW's adjusted to his left-hand hitting technique yet. Again, it appears he's going around the outside of the block just because IPFW keeps setting up on the inside.
That time a nice high set for Nash, too, to find out where the blockers were. Collins that time, the chrome domer off Nash's head. Collins on serve at 5-4. You get a chance to see the replay. Boom, right off the top of the nugget. Almodovar with a tip that time, not into the net. (6-4) IPFW. Game 3, they won the first 2 games, 15-9, 15-11. Collins, deep serve. Estow chases it down. And that's number 16, Brent Bekanowski, I'm going to call him. First kill of the night for him. Nash on serve.
Well, that's a wicked serve when he gets it in because he comes as a roundhouse, puts overspin on the ball, and brings side spin because of the way he attacks the ball.
This is Spiegel now. Going back, the block outside. One thing IPFW has not done well tonight, and it's difficult with a team that doesn't hit consistently either, is blocking. And by that I mean a team will hit high, hit low, hit everywhere, but in the power volleyball game, trying to hit off the fingertips of IPFW, going around the block. It's been tough for IPFW to get the hands up there, even when they do have a 2-man block. Volleyball turned back inside, a lift called again. It's about the 6th lift called on IPFW.
Well, Pat Karras called a lot of those last night, and that's why I said I'm not sure I agree with that one. Even in that one, it appeared to me the way he had a close fist, and you can't control the ball with a close fist.
Collins back row. It really is an adjustment that needs to be made on the player's part as long as the official is consistent. I don't know what type of officiating there will be out in California if indeed the Volleyball do get to the Final Four once again.
That's a very good point, though, Paul. You need to play with whatever the officiating is.
Ball just has to tip it over. Offense out of sync now. Santa Cruz with a chance to capitalize. They're out of sync as well. Collins comes up with it. Boy, that could have been a lift. And Almodovar with a kill right down the middle. Santa Cruz 15-7 on the year. Dan touched on it earlier. Played normally in a club league out in California. That time the block inside. Papaleo. (8-5) now. Almodovar, tough serve. Up. Stow has to run it down. Leshin hits it over. Spiegel. It's an overhang. Side out Santa Cruz.
Papaleo came over the scorer's table that time. I hate to see that because, boy, he could have hit a chair, turned an ankle.
Papaleo, nice pass, quick hitter that time, all set up by the good pass.
IPFW's middle attack much quicker this year than it's been in the past few years.
Free ball now for IPFW. Quick hitter again, Rolat. They're going over the middle now. It's been open all night.
Well, look, Pierce, the Ison's moved out to the left-hand side to do the blocking, and that leaves number 31, Jeff Estow, who's only 6'0" in the middle to block. And IPFW's taking advantage of that.
Well, Santa Cruz is going to call a timeout here and try and milk this one for all it's worth. It's 9-5 here in the third. IPFW winners in the first 2 games. Beat Quincy earlier in 3 straight. Have won 8 straight. This would be number 9. And Dan, you believe that is a national streak right now?
Blake Sebring, the reporter for the Fort Wayne News Sentinel, who is really into volleyball, also writes for one of the volleyball magazines, tells me that is the longest winning streak in the nation right now at 8. And if they win this one, it'll be 9. I know this team believes, Paul, that it can win the rest of these matches up to the NCAA. So that would if that's possible, that'd be a very nice win streak going in, because they'll be playing at least number 7 or number 8 Brigham Young next weekend. Play George Mason, which will be in the top 15, then come back and play Ball State and Ohio State a couple times, which will be in the top 15. So it'll be some good competition if they can take that kind of win streak going into the NCAA finals. That'd be a real boost, I think.
Okay, Dan, if the people in our audience at home want to know how they can go about getting tickets for the Ball State tourney next weekend, how would they go about doing that?
Well, Ball State uses as a Ticketmaster outlet for their seating in their arena, so we believe that tickets will be available at any Ticketmaster outlet. I don't believe there will be a problem, Paul, even if you wait till you get down there at the door. But if you want to get your tickets in advance, try contacting the Ticketmaster outlet.
That's a very spacious new arena. The Final Four was held at Ball State last year in Muncie.
It's a great arena. It's a great arena to watch any sport, but volleyball in particular. There's no obstructions, and everybody's fairly close to the floor. It's a very nice place to play.
Here's Lloyd Ball on serve at 11-5, not Fly. Wants to close this one out. We wouldn't mind it either. Quentin Spiegel that time. Cannot pull the block up. He's going to come out. Give the shoulder rest. Pierre Kuyak in the game now. Marty Legion back on serve at 5-11. Nice pass by Maldivar, and Collins comes up with a kill.
I thought Craig played as well last night as I've ever seen him play. He had much more control of his game. Just moved real well. And as I said, I think Coach Ball's done a really nice job of using the substitution between he and Quentin Spiegel.
Dan, I'm not entirely sure the history on Craig, but I don't believe he played a lot of high school volleyball, if any at all.
No, Arnie says he's one of his best athletes that he's ever recruited here, but you're right, he has not played much. He went to a junior college outside of Detroit. When Arnie saw him playing a little bit of AAU ball, invited him here last year, and as you know, he played real well last year, got into a little bit of academic trouble, had to go back to the junior college this year for one semester, so didn't get to train this fall, and I think that was a real disadvantage to him. But I think again he's getting his game back in right now, and I think he's playing at the top of his game right now.
Ison on serve now, 6-11, game 3. Again, if you want to see IPFW, you're going to have to travel a little bit. This is the final home game. 3 seniors, 2 of them out on the floor, or scratch that. One is Papaleo. Raul is a senior. Quentin Spiegel, who gets a lot of playing time, is a senior as well. Chad Blatchley, if you were with us game 1 today, he's a senior out of California. This is his last game too. Might see him come in, or he might have had his standing O a little earlier. Just Bollier back in the game now. 6-11, Santa Cruz on serve. Back set to Collins, straight down. Very effective. I think Collins works well on either sideline. Might prefer the right. Collins on serve. Handled nicely. This is Nash. 2-man block that time. Ball 6-9 and Kuyak combining. Boy, that serve is a fast ball.
You could tell that
long.
The minute it left his hand, Paul, that was going to be 10 feet long.
Here we go, the sidewinder. Tough serve for Lott with a nice pass. Kuyak. That time up early. Chad Blatchley going to get one more chance to come out. Now the fans ought to give Papaleo a big hand. This is the last time they're going to see him here, and what a contributor he has been. (12-6) Kuyak on serve. Lot with the block, and I have to say, Dan, I think Papaleo has played as well as anybody. Be good to talk with him and see after the game, see what his thoughts are on his career here at IPFW in the season. It's been a tough one for him. He's had to battle through injuries, but he's played through it and not blamed the injuries on any problems he might have had out on the floor.
Well, Raul is the kind of person, Paul, that leads by example. And in volleyball, you need a real communicator to be a leader, and it also typically is your setter that's the leader. And I think the team has, ever since Raul was a freshman, take a look at the responsibilities that he's had, and it's been real tough, and I think that he's really had to struggle with that kind of a role. And as you said, over the course of 4 years, I don't know that we've had a more consistent player than Raul Papaleo. And we've had some great ones over the course of those years, Jay Goldstein and Freddie Malcolm and others. And I don't think we've had any of those have been any more consistent than Raul has been. You might ask him what it's going to take, with all the road travel coming up here when you're down there during that interview.
I'll ask him. This team has been, probably a source of frustration for Coach Ball, trying to figure out what makes them tick. But when they do play well, they can play very well and beat top teams. They beat Brigham Young at Brigham Young, and that's really unheard of.
In fact, Paul, just to let our viewers know, I just saw over the facts earlier today that Brigham Young beat Hawaii last night, and Hawaii was rated 6th in the country. So that was just a great win for IPFW out there, and they'll see Brigham Young again next week down at Ball State.
Good teams coming in one more time. If you didn't catch this earlier, bad pass there by Blatchley. Coming back to him, though. George Mason will be down at Ball State along with Brigham Young. Don't know who else is down there, but the volleyball should be good. IPFW will be there. Ball State will be there, although IPFW will not play Ball State in that tournament. Boy, just to get it up and over that time, a rough deal. Santa Cruz on serve at 8-13. Game 3, IPFW won the first 2. Serve is long. See Blatchley now inside handling the passes for IPFW. The Maldabar and Papaleo out. Time to block, turn back. Relat still alive, have to get it over. And not able to keep it inbounds is Leshen. This is match point here. IPFW wants to close it out here. Been a very successful season. I can only think of the loss to Ohio State as no, I believe they lost one other time besides that as well.
They lost here at home. They lost 2 to Winnipeg, which is the top-rated team in Canada. But since it was a foreign team, it didn't really count against our record. Boy, a kind of anticlimactic way to end the match there with a long ball hit by Santa Cruz, giving IPFW the win at 15-8.
15-8. The scores one more time: 15-9, 15-11, 15-8. IPFW 9 straight now. Next week they got to take the act on the road down to Muncie. Ball State. They're going to play some good teams down there. Brigham Young. Tickets still available. If you want to see IPFW, you're going to have to travel or watch them on CBS, hopefully, if they get to the Final Four. We're going to take a timeout right now. When we come back, we'll have Raul down on the floor, get his thoughts on the season and his career here.
What comes to your mind when you think about mathematics? Clowns, street sweepers, the Red Sox, robots, the weather, earthquakes, Disney World, pineapples, conventions, parking tickets, fishing? If these practical applications of contemporary mathematics didn't make your list, you should watch public television's math series For All Practical Purposes.
You made it. Hey, I couldn't have gotten through physics without you.
Yeah, well, you're on your own at college.
It's not fair.
That's all right. I'm going to get a job, I'm going to start working, I'm going to save, and I'll be in college in another year or 2.
So, what do you have planned, Mike?
I think I'm going to go home and make a sandwich. Okay.
Support the United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Vince, come on, we're late.
This headbag and his boy finally going through home safe. Remember to strap yourselves in with your safety belts. You don't want to end up like Eddie. Belt up. Don't be a dummy.
Tom Lavergetta's book on electrical engineering technology is required reading at dozens of universities in America and abroad. At IPFW, students learn from the expert who wrote the book. Being a successful scholar and teacher isn't unusual at IPFW. To find out for yourself, you could check out the faculty's books. Even better, check out their classes. Call admissions today to learn how you can become a student at IPFW, where experts teach.
Welcome back to the Hilliard Gage Sports Center on the campus of IPFW, where IPFW Volleyball complete a 4-match sweep in a long volleyball weekend. Friday night, they beat Loyola Marymount. Saturday night, they beat Santa Barbara. Today, they beat Quincy College and UC Santa Cruz. We at IPFW are pleased to be able to bring you cablecast of NCAA athletic competition. We hope you've enjoyed the show and the excitement of intercollegiate sports from IPFW. To provide such programs, we need your support. With the help of many volunteers, we're able to produce these programs at a relatively low cost. Your contribution will help defray the production costs not covered by the Channel 6 budget. The College Cable Access Center invites you to invest in quality college programming by sending your contribution to Channel 6 at IPFW, 2101 Coliseum Boulevard East, Fort Wayne, Indiana, 46805. Please make your check out to the Indiana-Purdue Foundation at Fort Wayne and designate it for College Cable Access Athletics. We're going to send you down to the floor where Paul Fauerbaugh has a final chat with senior All-American Raul Papaleo.
Okay, down here on the floor with the Raul Papaleo, player of the game. Really sort of anticlimactic game for you guys out here. It did look a little bit like you were bored with this team, but a couple big wins last night. Where does this put you the rest of the season, Raul?
I think beating Santa Barbara last night was a big win, and that gives us a lot of confidence to finish the season. Now we're looking forward to play George Mason and Brigham Young, which I think BYU is a really good team. And we play them this weekend at Ball State. After that, there is not much left. We just have a couple more conference matches, and coach has been talking to us about getting better for these last 30, 40 days we have left. I think we've done well so far, and I think we'll finish in a really good positive note.
Well, try and put your thumb on this a little bit, Raul. This team has been up and down, sort of hard to figure out. You've played well at times, and then even in matches, you'll play well and then play poorly. What has Coach tried to do specifically to this team, and what do you try and bring this team as a senior leader?
I try to keep everybody focused all the time. We cannot lose the concentration. During the season, we've been winning, and then we lose, and then we win, and then we lose. And also in the matches, you said, we start really strong, and then we go down, and then we're trying to just try to concentrate on what we're doing. We've been working in all the skills, passing, setting, and hitting, all we have to do. We just have to play. Let them put too much pressure on ourselves, and I think everything will go fine.
A lot of talent out here on the floor, and you wanted to play by instinct. This is your final game here, Raul. What's it been like here? If you look back, what you're going to remember here at IPFW? You had a fine career, done it all, set. You've been up there blocking, and you played a lot of swing hitter. Well, you've done a lot of things for IPFW.
Yeah, I felt at the end of this match and last night, I felt something touched me. I was like, I've been here for 4 years. It's been a long time. And I remember when I first got here as a freshman, I've had really good matches here in this floor, and I feel really good with the support I got from the fans, and the whole program I think it's been a success for these 4 years. I'm really glad that I play for Arnie and for IPFW.
Okay, well, I think that goes without saying. Everybody here who's watched you play is glad you came here as well. That's going to do it from down here on the floor. Wraps up the season for us. IPFW closes out here on a high note, 9 straight now, and they're going to go down to Ball State next week and play a couple tough teams, and we'll see how they do down the rest of the season. Throw it back upstairs to Dan.
Again, IPFW wraps up a 4-match victory weekend with a 15-9, 15-11, 15-8 win over UC Santa Cruz Banana Slugs. We'd like to take this time to thank the Channel 6 volunteer crew and the Learning Resource Center at IPFW for their contributions to the live programming of our volleyball match this evening. This college cable access sports presentation is underwritten in part by a grant from Cable Access Incorporated of Fort Wayne, Indiana. The telecast of this IPFW sporting event is copyrighted and the sole property of the College Cable Access Center and IPFW. Unauthorized copy, exhibition, retransmission, rebroadcast, or other use of this event without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For Paul Fauerball, this is Dan Gebhardt. Goodbye for now.